Scorpio, it's Gregory Scott here. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to have a look at what's coming up for you in May 2015 and how you're going to be influenced by the stars and what they're going to really shape your experience into and how you can work with that. On the 1st of May, Mercury goes into your 8th house in Gemini. And what that means is that Mercury is very, very comfortable in its position, and you're going to find it really easy to interact with institutions and with bureaucracy and with things bigger than yourself and with forms and with taxes and with the government and politics and all of the legalities of life. You're going to find that very easy and you're going to engage very well with that. There is an election coming up in the UK in May, so for you particularly this is going to be a really uncomplicated time where you know exactly who you're going to vote for, what you're going to do. And it also means on a bigger picture that you find dealing with information very, very easy, and especially boring, corporate, legal, institutional, the fine print. You can do that very well, whereas I don't think you would always have the emotional stamina to listen to that because you tend to get bored by that. Not this time. So if there is something you have to go over with a fine-tooth comb, please do that because you have the capacity to actually find out what's going on. Now, there is a full moon happening on the 4th of May, and it happens in your sign, Scorpio. It happens in your first house in Scorpio on the 4th of May, and it's really a blossoming of yourself. Your confidence will be at its peak. You will feel super comfortable in your own skin. You will see yourself clearly and through the eyes of others. You will have wonderful insight about who you are as a person, where you're going with your life, what you're like as an individual, what you would like to achieve. It's almost like, you know, sometimes you have these moments when you're busy doing your life and things, and then you almost step out of yourself and you look down and you say, this is me. This is me on the 4th of May in the shop, picking up the groceries, thinking about when to plug my phone in. And you have those real moments of clarity, and I think the full moon for you, please spend that in a meditation and seeing who you really are and getting to know yourself, because you're going to be this far from the real you. If you look closely, there's no gap there. You're going to be right on top of yourself. You're going to understand things that have eluded you for a long, long time. So the meditation, who am I, will be very clear to you. What am I supposed to be doing with my life will be much clearer to you. And those are priceless moments, because some people try and figure that out for decades. And if you're one of those people, this is a real opportunity to find out what's going on. Venus goes into Cancer on the 8th, and that's in your 9th house of expansion and expanding the feelings and exploration, okay? So this is a kind of an interesting month for you, because May traditionally is a very practical month. You know, the spring is kind of in the northern hemisphere. It's about spring, it's about putting things in place, it's getting practical, it's getting ready. But for you, Scorpio, because you're such a watery sign, all of that practicality going on in the world is kind of making you look within and kind of saying, well, what about me? What am I like? What everyone else is so busy. What do I want to be busy with? And what do I value and what's important to me? And you get some really good answers to those questions, so please don't be afraid to ask them. Mars goes into your 8th house in Gemini on the 12th as well. And this is about becoming much more forceful. So it opposes Saturn in your 2nd house of money. I really get that you start to assert yourself within the institutions that you're a part of. So if you work for the NHS, which is the National Health Service in the UK, or you work for the post office, or you work for the government, you will look at the fine print and your rights and see if you're actually getting paid what you ought to be paid, or if you've got your 2% increase from the previous year. And you're going to look at your tax return and see if you're owed anything. And you're really you've got a really good eye for that sort of thing in May. So really look at what you're entitled to and build that structure in terms of your money, because I think with what you read, what you engage with, what you find out, it can really transform your financial situation in your life. And I remember I was in a job a couple of years ago, and there was something, it was in a school, and there was something about the contracts that the school had put in that was really kind of placed in a very non-visible position. But there was one woman at this job who was one of my colleagues who did this kind of thing, who really looked at the fine print. And the action she took as a result of what she read ended up with every person in the department earning £100 more every month. Now that is significant, and that was almost like 10%, 5-10% of what people were earning. So it was a huge impact, and she did that just by reading the fine print and applying herself to something that companies expect you not to look at, because no one likes to read the fine print. Now, there's a new moon on the 18th of May, and that happens between your 7th and 8th house. And again, it's about understanding who you are and where you would like to be in conjunction to other people. So, I mean, just to look at something a little less pleasant, if you've been in a relationship where you are told what your role is, or you're told what is silly and what isn't silly, and what is worth pursuing and what isn't, you again have that moment of clarity of, I've been told this, but this is what I actually believe. And rather than compromise, I have a decision to make now. Am I going to continue to listen to the messages that I'm getting that I don't agree with and I just kind of dismiss? Or am I going to say, those messages are unacceptable to me and I'm going to do something about this so that I can only surround myself with positive people and people who value me and who share my kind of ideas? The new moon is a period of setting intentions, and I would like you to set those kind of intentions. Because Scorpio, you like to be in control. That's not a bad thing, but when other people take control from you and you have to compromise all the time, you tend to get frustrated. And this is a wonderful opportunity for you to empower yourself in May. Whereas other people are building bricks and houses and all of that stuff, you're building with emotional building blocks. And you're creating your own emotional fortress within yourself that really strengthens and fortifies your own identity. Mercury goes into retrograde on the 20th, so that ability to look at all the fine print and things, that will slow down a little bit. It stays in retrograde until the 12th of June. So I suggest that if you do have legal things that you want to look at or have to look at, that you do that before the 20th. I'm going to draw a card here, and the card is the Two of Wands in reverse. And it means that you don't need to make practical decisions. The decisions that you're going to be making this month are about you on the inside. If you are overwhelmed by some of these themes, if you don't know what to look at first, if you need some guidance in terms of what am I looking at, who am I meant to become, I'm lost, I don't know even where to begin, then please get in touch with me via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Look at the readings tab, and excuse me, I'm just going to silence this. Look at the readings tab to see the types of readings that I offer, and you'll see what's most appropriate to you. And please remember to subscribe to the channel. Have a fantastic May, and I'll speak to you soon.